Hello, my name is Molly McCann-Mall, and I am the Associate Director of Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives for the Alzheimer's Association of Northeastern New York. I just want to take a moment to thank the Adirondack Health Institute for having me be a part of the mini module series. So today we're going to talk further about the health disparities that exist within Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. And we're going to take a closer look at how these disparities exist within the LGBT community. And then I will talk a bit more about other disparities that do exist. In order to understand how we can tackle these disparities, I'm going to go further into the understanding of what the disease is and the difference between Alzheimer's disease and dementia. We know that the knowledge of the disease is what is most important. It's placing an emphasis on early detection that will help combat these disparities. Lastly, I'll mention the free services of the Alzheimer's Association to place an emphasis on getting support, as we know this also helps combat the disparities. Now let's take a closer look at how dementia affects the LGBT community. We can see from the slide that 1 in 6 LGBT adults reported subjective cognitive decline compared to 1 in 10 non-LGBT adults. There's additional challenges as well for LGBT individuals. Individuals are more likely to give up day-to-day activities, more likely to report needing help with household tasks, and this subjective cognitive decline interfered with social activities, work, or volunteering. While more data is needed from U.S. studies about LGBT adults living with dementia and the experiences of their caregivers, a qualitative study undertaken in England explored the experience of 21 gay men and lesbian women who care or cared for a person with dementia. Respondents' narratives reflected a range of pervasive anxieties about the future, including fears about stigma, lack of health or social care and support, and need for specialized services for LGBT older people. Specifically looking at caregiving is difficult work for anyone, and because LGBT people find themselves in unique social networks and support structures, providers need to know how to identify, reach, and support LGBT caregivers. LGBT older people who receive a dementia diagnosis face a particularly challenging set of circumstances. As discussed, LGBT older adults exhibit several health disparities, such as diabetes and high blood pressure, which increase the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. LGBT older adults are also more likely to exhibit particular vulnerabilities that can exacerbate how Alzheimer's disease manifests and how it impacts, such as disproportionately high levels of social isolation and stigma as they age, making it difficult to find support. LGBT older adults have a greater amount of health disparities when compared to their non-LGBT peers, and LGBT elders of color face greater health disparities than their white LGBT counterparts. For older LGBT people of color, the consequences of inadequate care include higher rates of numerous chronic diseases such as HIV and AIDS, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Many of these health conditions have been linked to an increased risk of Alzheimer's and vascular dementias. These disparities mean that this population needs supportive services, but many LGBT elders experience barriers to accessing help, including discrimination, heterosexist attitudes, and lack of cultural competence on the part of providers. LGBT older adults have distinct aging experiences and require specific targeted outreach to overcome service barriers and to help with the mistrust of providers. While the LGBT community is just as diverse as the general population in regards to race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status, members of the LGBT community may have unique concerns and challenges as an LGBT person living with dementia or as an LGBT caregiver. LGBT older adults are twice as likely to remain single as they age, twice as likely to live alone, and 3 to 4 times less likely to have children to support them, resulting in challenging environments for addressing dementia-related issues. A national survey of LGBT older adults in long-term care facilities found that only 22% of respondents felt that they could be open about their LGBT identities with facility staff. 89% predicted that staff would discriminate based on their sexual orientations and or their gender identities. And 43% reported instances of mistreatment. So we know that cognitive health is linked to overall health, so access to healthcare, in particular to preventative care, is an important way to reduce health disparities that may result in an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease or other vascular dementias. Encouraging people to access healthcare services, make lifestyle changes, and supporting overall health can have a positive impact on LGBT communities. In addition to the risk factors in the LGBT community, Hispanics and Latinx community members, as well as Black and African American community members, and women are at higher risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. Research shows that older Hispanics and Latinx community members are about 1.5 times as likely to develop the disease compared to older whites, while the Black and African American community are twice as likely to develop the disease as compared to older whites. The reason for these differences is not well understood, but researchers believe that the higher rates of vascular disease in these groups may be also putting them at greater risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. Here's some good information that came from our 2021 Facts and Figures report that focuses on health and socioeconomic disparities and also how systemic racism contributes to increased Alzheimer's and dementia risk in communities of color. Among the report's findings stated that half of Black Americans, 50%, report they have experienced healthcare discrimination. More than 2 in 5 Native Americans at 42%, and 1/3 of Asian Americans at 34%, and Hispanic Americans at 33%, likewise reporting having experienced discrimination when seeking health care. Among non-white caregivers, half or more say they have faced discrimination when navigating health care for their care recipient, with the top concern being that providers do not listen to what they're saying because of their race, color, or ethnicity. Nearly 2/3 of Black Americans, at 62%, believe medical research is biased against people of color, and only half of Black Americans, 53%, trust a future cure for Alzheimer's will be shared equally with people of color, regardless of race, color, or ethnicity. So let's take a closer look at what is the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's disease. We know that if we explain this and bring the awareness to the difference, this will help combat some of these disparities. So what is Alzheimer's disease and what is dementia? The simplest way to explain it is that dementia is an umbrella term we use to describe a group of symptoms related to cognitive decline. The symptoms of dementia include difficulties of memory, language, problem solving, and other cognitive skills that affect a person's ability to perform everyday activity. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia and the one we hear about the most. But other causes of dementia include vascular dementia. Previously, vascular dementia was called post-stroke dementia, or you may have even heard of hardening of the arteries. It can occur in people who have had many strokes. Some estimates say that as many as 50% of people with Alzheimer's also show signs of many strokes. Then there's dementia with Lewy bodies. There are some symptoms of Alzheimer's disease with dementia with Lewy bodies. However, early symptoms can include sleep disturbances, visual impairments, visual hallucinations, gait problems, and Parkinsonian movement features. And lastly, we'll look at frontotemporal lobar degeneration, or FTLD. FTLD includes primary progressive aphasia, Pick's disease, and several other dementias affecting the frontotemporal lobe. Unlike Alzheimer's, memory is typically not affected first with FTLD. Instead of typical early symptoms, including marked changes in personality and behavior, and difficulty with producing or comprehending language. Just to note, there are other conditions like Parkinson's disease that can cause dementia as well. And some symptoms and situations are reversible, like hormone or vitamin deficiencies. And that's why getting a diagnosis is so important and the focus on early detection. Now let's take a closer look at resources for support from our free services at the Alzheimer's Association of Northeastern New York. The Alzheimer's Association has a 24/7 helpline that's available around the clock and 365 days a year. This is a free service, and there are specialists and master's level clinicians that offer confidential support and information to people living with the disease, caregivers, families, and the public. You can call the 24/7 helpline day or night and speak confidentially with the master's level care consultants for decision-making support, crisis assistance, and education on issues that families face every day with this disease. You can learn more about the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, find out about our local programs and services, get information about legal and financial, as well as care decisions, as well as treatment options for managing symptoms. You can also receive help in your preferred language through our bilingual staff, or there is a translation service which accommodates more than 200 languages. All Alzheimer's Association programs are now available online as we wait for a time that it's safe for us to get back to in-person programming. However, we have a variety of our education programs that you can watch live from the local chapter or even on demand as well on our website. You'll see the topics listed that we commonly have live programs from our chapter that are hosted virtually. Also, our ALS Navigator is a tremendous resource helping guide caregivers to answers by creating a personalized action plan and linking you to information, support, and local resources. I'd also like to highlight the benefits of our support groups that we offer at our chapter. Support groups offer excellent opportunities to learn directly from other experienced caregivers and gain much needed support. Groups help caregivers work through their challenges and share coping strategies. There are really a wealth of community-based resources available in your area, including long-term care and community-based services. Local association offices like our office, the Northeastern New York chapter, offer many programs and services. And the way that you can look at that is through our website at alz.org/CRF. For those of you that are interested in support but without a formal group, we'd encourage you to connect to our website called ALZ Connected. But we also offer one-on-one care consultations with our local staff. This care consultation is free. This staff member will take the time to meet with you and provide assistance with community resources, help connect you to other services like support groups and education, and provide disease education. Launched in 2014 and combined forces with AARP in 2018, the Community Resource Finder is a one-stop shop that helps people find local resources online. For instance, if your family needs assistance with legal or financial issues, you can search by zip code to find elder law attorneys in your area to assist. If you need support at home or resources to assist your family in the community or any other programs, this is one place for you to turn for help. Thank you so much for joining us today for the mini module about health disparities in Alzheimer's disease. Please feel free to reach out to us if you would like more information about disparities or you'd like to get services from our local chapter. You can call us at 1-800-272-3900. Thanks and have a great day.